Greetings, I am Lies and I use she, her.
And I am Scandal and I use they, them.
And let's play a game together. Alrighty. It's question time and who has got a big decision to make, it seems.
It seems, which is still unusual. Like, what the fuck, Asra? Why? What do you think? What do you want to do?
You're literally asking me whether or not we should help them not die?
You know, help the people that now you have made dependent upon you, basically your resources that you gave them last time, then also didn't train anyone or teach someone how to at least perform the spell. It's fine. We should go.
Or connect them to any other person who might be able to do this.
Maybe also helping them will include, let's train someone.
Maybe, or let's try.
Yeah, right?
Yeah. I'm just like, okay, but like, this poor person that ran across the desert to find you going, and now it's don't talk to me, talk to them. I don't know who they are, and I'm just like, That
would be, honestly, that's incredibly patronizing. That's very cruel. I don't care about you. Talk to someone who doesn't even know you.
Yes, actually, it's not even up to me.
I'm not kidding.
It's
that's
up to
mean.
them.
Asra's really not nice.
Okay, that feels very not nice. That doesn't feel like I'm being playful with your lives.
Yeah.
Let's go. We should definitely not have.
Is this a trick question?
People dying of a solvable problem. I think not like in the real world, perhaps. Okay, let's do it.
Okay.
Yeah, let's go. I look at the stranger and I go, sure thing. We should totally not have you die if it's no trouble for us, which it isn't.
No. We came out here specifically to get away, and we have no other plans, and now we are away, so we could just help.
And as far as I can tell, you are also quite away, so that's not going to hurt our plans to be away. Yeah. So let's go. Our visitor visibly glows at my response, just radiating radioactive light like in Fallout. Oh, and Asra gives me a soft look of affection. What did you think I would say? Sir?
That was a test?
I guess.
That's horrible.
I don't feel like I know you well enough, Kohai. Despite having been around you all this time, I have no concept of your actual moral structure. So I want to see if you're like I would enjoy you to be.
Sir, you have
by
raised me.
Weighing other people's lives against your thoughts. Asra, I have never been rebellious a day in my life.
That's dark.
What did you think I would say?
Holy shit, that's dark.
Excuse me?
Anyway.
A look of affection, which baffles me a little bit given the question. Rather than just like agreeing, perhaps?
Oh, guy. Always with your head on straight.
Wait. Were you just thinking we would go back inside and not make more porridge together? And so you wanted to ignore them because of there's a bed in there? I guess. Are you saying that I am more mature than you because you were still excited about being completely alone together, and so I am making a more rational decision than you would have made because of where your brain is right now? What are we talking about, Asra? Asra, what are we talking about here?
Anyway, it also sounds like you're in luck, friend. You're in luck.
Normally, they wouldn't make that kind of choice for your behalf, on your behalf.
Whoa!
What? Whoa! Really? Such kind wizards. I totally thought it was gonna be harder than that. Like I would have to bargain with you, or offer you something, or sell my immortal soul, or... Thanks! But I also feel
Honestly,
like that was gonna be a hard no if it wasn't a yes, so...
terrible.
So there we go!
This is really cruel.
That sounds very cruel, given what this person is asking, honestly.
Also, I thought it was going to be harder than that. I was going to have to offer you, like, the food that I only barely have left, or the last of my water, or I was going to have to beg you, or I was going to...
give you service of some nature.
Yeah, what the fuck?
I am Suaro. I do not know you well at all. You do not know me well at all. I come to you with a very important thing related to a very important thing that you did before as basically an acquaintance. and you're going to play around with my emotions and whether or not you'll give me access to a thing that is essentially free to you.
Yeah.
As far as we can tell, that makes me uncomfy.
Yikes.
You know, the softest boy. It was gonna be harder than that. You guys are something else. Both of you. I get some really powerful vibes off of you. And by that I mean, like, that's what you say to people who have way more resources than you, and when you're calling them generous because you want them to feel important.
And
powerful.
also so that they will be charitable towards you at least for a moment longer. Please, Big Daddy, who has billions of dollars, won't you give me 10?
Alright, could you maybe buy me a meal today so I could survive long enough to catch fish?
Sigh.
This is fine.
You're perceptive. I'll be right back.
He's like, yes, the praise I deserve. We do seem powerful. We're very powerful.
Wow.
He also looks like more serious and
you're
closed off
sort of
there.
smug.
That was weird. Not that I assumed to know him, but I kind of thought I'd gotten a different vibe of him from the fandom all around.
Yeah, I guess that whole power fantasy I like to be in charge thing, and I'm going to literally manipulate Julian, is actually, again, more for his benefit than it ever was for Julian's.
Well,
that was awful.
It also feels like that's not non-standard behavior for him.
Yeah.
Like that is normal now. I'm feeling more normal. Sighing, as if greatly burdened, Asra retrieves his bag from inside, and we follow Sawaro off down the dusty road. I never have any supplies nor carry or plan for anything because Asra has always had all of it, and any place I've ever gone was either close enough to the shop to never need anything, or literally in NADIA'S palace where everything is there. So if I ever had to go out on a trip on my own, I don't know if I would know what to pack, but I would try to mimic what I think I know he has.
Great.
In the meantime, I never think about it at all, and when I first leave for a trip, I would probably have to come back because I would probably forget it in the habit of he always has it. Down the dusty road. We arrive at the sun-baked town, rippling in the midday heat. Goats and the occasional cow lie passed out in the shade. Not sleeping, passed out. I hope I mean sleeping. I think I do. That's a really nicely drawn well. I love that. Like, the sticks are extremely real.
It also looks incredibly fucking familiar.
I say this looks very, like, rendered from a photo in a way that the other pictures have not.
Do not, yeah.
If that makes sense.
Like, yeah, I'm like, that looks... I swear to God I've seen something like that in, like, an elementary or middle school, like, just basically early education textbook.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like, or slideshow or something. Yeah.
Yeah.
That looks wildly familiar. That's weird. Interesting.
Okay.
Passed out in the shade. Which, if they're just sleeping, that's normal siesta behavior and does not have to be concerning at all. The townsfolk barely look when we pass. I guess this guy was not actually an ambassador for the entire town. He was sort of on a personal mission, and nobody else recognizes what he's doing. Slumped in stoops to escape the blazing, unforgiving light, which we are not going to change, just by giving them water. So... And
also, I think it's interesting that we don't react to it at all.
No,
everyone else is having a time, but we're just like...
Interestingly, Kohai doesn't go, damn, it's hot here for me and myself in my clothes. God, I noticed the cave being much cooler than, like, the forest, and the forest being warm, etc. But the temperature here, I don't feel it at all, but I see it on other people.
Also, what happened to the, quote, beast?
It stayed back.
No, but I'm like, it literally just went...
I think it disappeared when when Sawaro showed up.
I guess, sure, yeah.
It turned into a pile of hay baking.
It became a pumpkin.
Sorry, pumpkin time.
Pumpkin time. It became a mouse.
Unforgiving light. That does not affect me. In the middle of the square, the town square that I have now identified,
I guess,
is the remnant of a shallow pool with troughs spreading out like rays, all long dry. All long dry, like they've been dry for a long time.
Yeah.
Okay. I was like, all long and dry. No,
all long dry.
My brain, it's fine. Wish we could see that. What's a shallow pool?
That is completely different. Okay.
No, this doesn't mean this is the town square. This could be something else, like there's a well off over there.
It's true, but I'm like, if we're going to take it as this is the thing, because they usually go, here's big important detail.
Yeah? And the thing is I'm going, a shallow pool in the middle of the desert, even naturally, you wouldn't have a shallow pool last long in the heat at all. Rain that produces shallow pools, it disappears.
It evaporates really fast.
On the other hand, if Asra magically filled the shallow pool for an amount of time, and it was unnatural water, then this well is just an old relic they never use?
I guess. Who knows?
Long try.
This is where it was? The spring? You
don't
Oh!
What?
That's why he's being a dick.
What?
He doesn't remember.
He doesn't remember at all. He's like, oh, they're like, yeah, we built stuff around it. We built more of a town around it because we thought it would be there forever.
That's okay, so I can at least give him a little bit of that, but I'm also like, you're weirdly, like, off, like, you don't remember, I'm like, Asra.
He sounds like he really wants to be somewhere else doing something else.
Yeah.
As he said pretty much straightforward to Kohai, you have your head on straight. I'm thinking about something else.
I'm interested in other things. This is where it was?
Yep, you wouldn't know it, but it used to bubble up from the middle there, where, you didn't seem to notice any kind of opening or crack or hole or pipe or anything.
That's why we knew it was magic.
Yeah, because it would just come up out of the sealed basin that was the shallow pool. Yes. The middle, right there. Asra bites his lip in thought, throwing a leg over the edge of the empty pool. The shallow pool is apparently deep enough for him to dangle his legs in, so the actor's thoughts of shallow pool were different than, Kohai's, apparently. Beckoning me to follow into or over to the empty pool. We don't only throw our legs over the edge, but we also get to the center. At the center, where the spring should be, it's hard red earth. Asra and I drop down to our knees. What I'm hearing is, a small pool is something you can swing your legs over, to then drop down into, to then walk across. How big is a not small pool? How many pools have I seen with Asra, maybe in my life, to have this be what I would define as a small one? Maybe the one in the cave was much bigger.
I also would have been like, at that point, I would have just called it a fountain. Just call it a fountain. The empty fountain. But it doesn't look like it has anything to
or just say,
it doesn't matter.
Basin.
Say basin.
Don't put size on it at all.
No! Especially, I'm like, shallow! Shallow for me was going like, oh, it's like 2 or 3 inches deep.
That's what I was thinking. Like, I figured it was sort of that groove, that curved thing where it gets probably like 10 inches deep at the middle. Yeah. But it's like 2 or 3 at the edges.
It's like, whoop.
Yeah, I pictured, that sort of round
that sunken
thing.
In, that experience, yes.
Yep, it's okay. Asra and I dropped down to our knees.
Dry as a bone. Do you feel movement underneath?
This would be way cuter if it was flirting and not people's lives.
Yeah.
Just saying. Under his watchful eye, I lay my hands on the splintered earth. I can't feel the water. Could I feel water before? Because when Kohai was making water before, it was turning sand into water, not feeling for water. Do we actually know how to feel for water? He's not mentioning this is new or an old skill.
Yeah, I have no idea. Because
with other magic that he's had us try, it's always been, this is an old skill that I want to see if you're better at, or here, let me have you try this thing that you haven't really done before. He's not talking about this at all.
Nope, not even. You mean he's being Asra?
True.
Okay.
Fair, okay. I close my eyes and see red, and nothing else. Slowly, I nod. There's something wrong here. The ground is dry. I seek deeper under the dirt. There's movement. Shimmering. Again, this is not creating water, this is searching for water. This is magical dowsing and sounds completely different.
Yeah, which again, I'm like, do you consider the two skills basically adjacent enough that you can just do one or the other?
Or that it's, if you can do one, you can do the other?
That hurts my brain. It's
that sounds wildly different. It's okay. Different. Unknowable magic system.
Also, again, like, very undefined. It seems to, again, like, we said in, like, I think even Julian's rap going, whatever fits the most drama.
Yeah.
Or sounds like the most interesting. It has no coherency to it until, like, it needs to do a thing, and then we'll frequently forget it, because otherwise it would solve problems.
And it wouldn't matter in this case. Again, this is a writing convention. Not saying all magic systems have to be cohesive, or have to be reliable, or have to be repeatable as science. But The Arcana has told us repeatedly that magic is a teachable, repeatable skill.
Yes.
Not just something you sort of feel out and design yourself.
Yeah.
And so, given that they, the authors, have told us that it is just a skill that you practice, like solving a Rubik's Cube or tying a bow or cooking a meal, it is not something that people just each feel out and make up and decide on their own every time they do something. It is not like wild magic where you just sort of pull on the intention you have and see if you can get the result you want.
Right.
And so the fact that they have told us that it is a consistent, reliable thing that is teachable through textbooks and instruction makes me look for that kind of consistency. So it's, again, author direction.
I appreciate that. I was also going to say, though, if we go with our assumption, though, that this was written first, you're going to have more of a problem in that area.
Because they were still deciding what they wanted.
Yes.
Or what they were doing. Okay, that's good. That's good. That's an important point.
But also at the same time, consistency across your own writing is helpful for keeping people grounded and going, okay, this feels similar, or I can keep going with the same thing. Does that make sense?
Yes. I was also going to say that
so you don't lose your audience going.
There is a thing where when people write further on in a story and decide they want to make new choices or find within themselves an understanding of their own story that they didn't have previously.
Right.
There is a lot of, I will go back and correct things if the media is still malleable. And in this case, as far as I've understood, they've come back and made many edits as they've found typos or plot holes or things like that. And they consistently update not only new routes, but the routes that are currently there. Again, this has been through many, many, many versions, as far as we understand from the fandom. Again, without trying to encounter any spoilers, just doing the research we have to meet with Nix Hydra's demands.
Right.
And that's one of those things of going, you could have come back and put that in here more if that's what you wanted, or taken it out of the other routes.
Yeah.
Anyway. Shimmering. But it doesn't sound like water. It sounds like something else I can't place. I thought we were feeling, not listening.
Well,
it's okay,
fine.
We feel the sound.
Oh, we're drawing a crowd.
Everybody who was completely indifferent a moment before is now interested that we are standing in their empty water dirt place?
Okay, I have a bad feeling about this. I'd rather you left this one to me.
You brought me here. Asra? No, let me help you, because you literally invited me down into here. And it'd be very silly if I stood up and walked away now. Plus, that feels like giving up. No.
Plus, also, this is unusual. Maybe even you don't know what's going on.
Also going, I am the one that just examined this, and I have no idea if you've actually done any magic at all. You didn't place your hands on mine or on the ground. You just watched me feel and listen it out, and then went, no, I don't think you should do this.
Something is wrong. You staring. How do you know? You're not even trying.
How can you do completely...
Asra, I don't know anything about magic. I'm not very good at magic. I could do it without even touching or even focusing on it. I know exactly what's going on.
Posture or gesture or visible change to myself. You have to reach down and lay yourself on the ground and put your hands in and feel with tactile senses. I could just stand here as if nothing changed and know the exact same thing you did.
Yeah,
but I'm still new to this. It's fine. Okay,
hi.
Let me help you.
Oh my god, you nerd.
Asra sighs. Not the same kind of beleaguered sigh that he did with Suaro, but like a, oh you kind of sigh, and nods. Laying his hands down next to mine. See, he didn't have his hands down. And letting his awareness sink into the earth, which I can now perceive, and he had not done before. So, how did he know? Hang on. Maybe he just doesn't want people paying attention to me. Now that I think about it, he's always kind of kept me to himself for the most part. Maybe it's the crowd that put him off and not the magic itself. I do not know.
Who knows? It's there. Movement. You felt it?
You look deeply unhappy.
You look a little grouchy, or just sort of focused, maybe? A little not either.
That expression was just like sort of a concern, I do not like it kind of feel. Yes. I nod. He casts his gaze down at the ground and searches further.
But not water. That sound feels more like...
Don't pull on it. Oh, there we go. Out of nowhere, the ground started to violently shake. That's our only warning. and in that moment, my eyes find his. Before a massive sprout of red erupts from the ground, glimmering in the sunlight, stretching high into the sky. So, remember how I said that it felt very red, and then it felt sort of liquidy but red? I was thinking blood, but I didn't want to say it, because usually you don't find that in a desert. Oh wow, a whole chapter.
Wow!
No escape.
No escape, chapter 3.
Alright.
Let's start it.
In a moment of fear for our lives, I thought it was fire. Okay, not blood. Good, excellent. The fountain that spewed up from under the ground. But there is no heat. Only a storm of chittering movement and gleaming, vibrant red that grows to darken the sky. It was a cave of beetles!
Wait a second.
Did they drink all the water?
In this one?
Mm-hmm.
In this one, they're actually like, this affects everybody else, too.
All over the kingdom. Or the
area, I guess.
The
province.
Countdom?
I
don't know what those are called, sorry.
Yeah, it's fine.
City. All over the
but
city.
But this isn't
the area?
The desert.
Area.
This is quote, far beyond.
All the contained counties.
I guess that's why I said the province.
Yes, there we go. Vibrant reds that glows to darken the sky. Apparently, when we were listening to them, it made them very uncomfy. Insects. That's what the sound had been. I stagger
back.
Not
blood. Oh, good.
Watching as they stream up from the earth. Yeah, they really have drawn a well instead of the described basin. I'm guessing the words came later.
Me too.
After the drawing, and then they just didn't change it.
Or they came back and they changed.
Or they came back and changed the words, going, no, wait, we really want this. When the last of them has emerged, and we just stand there the entire time watching them spout up into the sky, I guess, the whole swarm disperses to the east. Asra looks unsure if it was a hallucination. That is a very specific thought. Going, I watched this massive thing happen in my own experience, and it's really uncomfy, and I describe it in detail, but it goes on for a long time, and then I look at Asra, and he looks unsure if it was a hallucination. Not like he looks stunned, he looks surprised, he looks also like
again, we have
uncomfy.
Such in-depth awareness. This is what that's
feeling just like. Recently, we've been doing a replay of Meeting in the Flesh.
Yes.
Because we've been very excited about a new game coming out from that studio, Ink Ethic Studios.
Yes.
And in it, we actually mentioned that it's really neat that the protag in there, that the main character that you play to fall in love with the various monsters, does not seem to be able to read deeply complex, extremely specific things about them without information that the player can perceive.
Yes.
This is an example of that. And so you don't have to go watch that or anything, but like that's what I'm talking about when I talk about that, of going, he looks unsure if it was a hallucination. What kind of look on his face produces that thought? When you look at your friend and you go, that is the look that they make when they're not sure if this was real or not. Going, that's pretty specific. And sure, if you have a friend that has a hard time grounding themselves in reality on a regular basis, you can sometimes reach over, because I, have friends with mental illnesses, experiences and things, and be like, hey, how are you feeling? What's going on? Kind of thing. Check in with them. It can be good. And sometimes it can be the, did that just happen? They ask, and you're like, that totally just happened.
And they go, okay.
I am not having a bad day today.
This is not having an episode.
Yep, we are. Okay. Anyway, so that's a very specific, odd description in my mind.
It's fine. Whatever.
Why? It's okay. They left. They won't drink the water anymore?
I guess.
I assume that's what was happening. Bugs need a lot of water, mostly.
Depending on the type of
Unless,
bug.
I guess, they are desert bugs. But if they're living deep down in a cave, which I assume is under there, because usually it's cold quite a bit under the desert ground, because a lot of things hide under the sand in the daytime and in the dirt. I don't think they belong out here. Why? He leaped to my side in a flash and grasped my shoulders, searching my face with desperate eyes. Yes? He must find what he's looking for. He exhales deeply and sweeps me into his arms. I am completely unaware of all the people in the town and whether or not they shrieked or reacted in surprise or jumped back or did anything at all. Only him. He is my entire world.
Yep.
Puzzled, I return his embrace, tightening my hold at his shaky breath by my ear. I almost missed the gasps of the crowd. Yeah? It literally in here, I think I've got the right feel with Kohai approaching this of going, Asra is your entire world. He's all you care about.
Uh-huh.
He's like you have your own interests and
but your dream hero going like, that's bad. You being obsessed, quote, with each other is bad.
You having only interest in the person you are madly in love with, and also is an introvert with you, and want to spend most of your time alone together, that's bad. Stop that.
Stop that.
That's bad.
That's bad. That's bad. Ooh, that's really, really bad.
Uh-huh. Anyway, I almost missed the gasps of the crowd. I forgot they were here. I don't believe it. I'm really glad I didn't, soil myself. Oh, I mean, wow.
Can you imagine the animals fucking freaking out?
No, they were all passed out. They didn't notice. We didn't say it made any sound. Only that it did
Oh,
this
that's
thing.
true.
If there's no sound at all, we didn't say buzzing, humming, vibrating, chittering.
The world filled. I mean, we did say chittering.
Oh, we did
Yes,
say
yes,
chittering.
we did.
Okay, there was chittering, yeah.
But it
I
didn't
guess
say
it
how
wasn't very
loud.
Just soft chittering, maybe? Again, we also didn't hear them very well, but I don't believe it! Magicians! The spring! You made the water into bugs! What magic!
They're all
yeah!
Now bring the water back.
Now can we eat the bugs?
It's a spring.
His gaze drops to our feet. They're already soaked. The spring is bubbling up beneath us. I didn't even notice. That's amazing. No wonder Soaro was so happy. He didn't even care about the bugs. Maybe he thinks that's part of how you bring water. Summon bugs first? We stumble out of the quickly filling pool, and I wouldn't think any of that because I really only think about Asra. As the townsfolk rejoice around the spring.
You know, okay. This is me being always an asshole.
Do it.
Okay. I always found it to be funny.
You're an
Excuse
asshole.
me. Where in movies in particular, you have all this level of celebration, but I always really appreciated at least Mad Max, where I'd be like, you don't care about any, you don't go, wee, cheer! You'd be like waiting desperately for water, and then you just go to the water.
You just dive in. You just throw your,
you're dying.
Containers, your buckets, your whatever.
Your whole face.
Yeah, your face into the water.
Like, I know Mad Max is definitely a different situation, but in this case, I mean, like, I just see people going, like, I haven't had a drink in, 4 days. I just fling.
I was like, again, though, also, it doesn't seem like anyone else in the town knew what we were doing. It doesn't seem like Soaro communicated with anyone what his goals were. I just kept walking away and coming here. And, no one's reacting to him either. And so there's this experience of going...
Sounds like, honestly, Soaro is supposed to be that intrepid little kid character. Do you remember from the 90s, and 80s?
The ones that goes, the adults can't solve the problem,
so I will solve it.
Yeah, especially with a yup.
Uh-huh.
Yup.
Yes,
Yup.
somewhat young. Probably 16 or 15,
Yeah,
something
at
like
this
that.
point. Uh-huh.
Yeah, at this point, because, you have to be desert savvy. You can be really young if you're in the city, but this has to be, wasteland savvy.
Uh-huh, yeah.
Mm-hmm. So you got to be more like that sort of stringy, 15-year-old.
Oh, so we're pulling Stargate, the movie. Remember the stringy kids who are like, yeah, we're gonna go solve the problem.
And as the townsfolk rejoice around the spring. Thank you, great wizards! We won't forget this! I didn't forget this. Everyone else forgot this, but I didn't forget this. I was 5 when this happened last time. It was amazing. You were the coolest person ever. You're not as tall as I remember you. You're a 5-year-old.
I'm huge.
Yes.
God, that movie. Just...
If you don't know, that was a reference to Hook.
Yes. So the guy who plays as Hook and the guy who plays as Smee, just the dynamic between those two, and then sometimes throwing in Robin Williams, they just... good fucking time. I can't even explain
They had
to you.
lots of fun
The
doing
rest
that.
of it doesn't really matter. Rufio's great, but
Rufio matters. Oh.
Hashtag Rufio matters. But I just oh my god, I have such an appreciation. I loved it kind of as a kid, but as an adult, you really do just be oh my god, it's amazing.
Yes. We won't forget this!
Hey!
Please, let us cook you up a feast like you wouldn't believe, because even though we haven't had water at all, we have so much food you wouldn't believe it. And by feast, I mean, I guess, a generous amount of food from, an Indiana Jones-style feast. I don't want to eat this. That's more food than they eat in a week. Oh, shit.
Yeah, I'll eat it. Okay, sure.
Okay. As we're dragged into a jostling, gracious embrace, I chance a glance at Asra. He's laughing. Happiness blooms in my chest as we are swept away to celebrate. Good. I'm not sure what all of that was about, and I definitely have questions, but I'm really glad he's happy, and that he is now perhaps engaged in what is going to happen.
I guess.
Maybe he will like the feast and the party. Because the Suaro did say something about music and food, so maybe that
I'm
is
also,
now.
like, okay, so I hate to be mean in this way, but I always find this to be bizarre when regards to, for some reason, these other cultures that live nomadic or basically more isolated lifestyles, they don't develop or have their own magic. And it always is, even if they have it, it's always lesser than the quote developed city. And that's really
cultured.
The cultured people.
Yeah.
The high, and I'm like, it's really classist to me, and I find this to be really frustrating that this is like this.
Well,
because it's really dismissive, basically, of other cultures going, well, you don't know how to survive. You weren't surviving without me. Well, you can't survive because, like, obviously I had to go do that. I'm like, why wouldn't you have your own magicians? Again, so Nadia says that there are a dime a dozen magicians.
That are crappy and no good and
except
aren't
that
real.
they also seem to be doing really high-level spells and whatever else.
They don't fix problems. They just make pretty things happen, like people float in the air.
Right, because that's not a fucking...
If it doesn't contribute to the function of your economy, like creating food or bringing back water or lighting fires or things like that, then why would you care? What does it mean to float a person in the air? Are you fixing the sconces when they break? Are you getting cats down from trees?
I mean, if I can float a person, I could totally float a person up to get the cat, or float the cat out of the tree.
Yeah, but I don't see you doing that. You're just performing for money, for visual tricks, so you're not a real magician. Oh, sorry. If you're only being hired to perform and not doing anything useful other than entertainment, you're not a real magician.
Somebody, Nadia.
Yes.
That is called a day job.
Well, do they do something more useful in their night job?
Yes, because this is all you've hired them for.
But that's what they advertised for. They didn't advertise that they could hang the decorations or place the stars on the ceiling. Don't ask me how I did those things, but they're done.
Right. Of course.
Happiness.
Celebrate! Anyway, and we're gonna
swept away to celebrate whatever we're going to however we will celebrate will happen in the next one.
Yeah, so thank you very much, everybody, for joining us. If you like what we do, please feel free to like, comment, subscribe, and also please share our videos. Honestly, just interacting with a video, commenting,
does so much to make it visible for other people that might want to find it. We are kind of tiny.
Yeah, we are, but that's okay.
No, it's okay. But like, we have had people find us occasionally that are like, "Oh my god." And we're like, we don't know, like, if there are other people who are looking, it is helpful if we are more visible.
It is, actually. But also, please, feel free to also go check out our Ko-Fi, Patreon, and our Twitch, where we do play games live on our Twitch. And we would love to see you at any of those locations. Because I have been Scandal.
And I have been Lies.
And it was great playing with you! Goodbye! Bye, 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 bye!